Today let's explore one of the oldest finance systems in the world, Hawala. Imagine you're standing in a small shop in Toronto, a dry cleaner's perhaps, or a modest convenience store tucked between apartment blocks. You've come with a purpose, to send $10,000 to your brother in Tehran. Maybe your family has been dealing with banking delays for years, or maybe recent sanctions have made ordinary transfers nearly impossible. The man behind the counter knows this story well. He's a hawaladar, part of a network that has been moving money across continents long before modern banks existed. You hand him the envelope with the cash. He counts it quietly, places it in his safe, and then asks you for something simple, a code word. You choose a phrase you and your brother will remember, perhaps something from your childhood. That code word is the entire security mechanism. It replaces receipts, contracts, confirmations, and transaction numbers. He writes it down and then does something very ordinary, almost anticlimactic. He picks up the phone. On the other end of that call is another hawaladar in Tehran. He might work in a small office above a bakery or in a back room of a travel agency. He's been doing this for decades, as did his father before him. The Toronto hawaladar says, in essence, a man will come to you later today. Here is his name, here is the code word. When he gives it to you, pay him $10,000 from your reserves. And that's it. No money has actually moved. Only the obligation to pay has been passed along. A few hours later, your brother walks into the Tehran shop, gives his name and the code word, and walks out with the money in hand. The entire transfer has taken less time than sending a wire through conventional banks, and there is no digital footprint to trace. Now, you might ask, why would anyone trust a system like this? Well, because Hawala is built on something deeper than paperwork. It's built on reputation. In many communities, a hawaladar's good name is worth far more than any signed contract. Families have relied on the same brokers for generations. A hawaladar who betrays trust loses his livelihood overnight. And because these networks are tightly knit across regions and communities, the consequences of dishonesty travel fast. Let's step back and imagine the broader machinery that makes this possible. Hawaladars all over the world are constantly taking in money and paying money out. A Pakistani worker in Dubai sends wages home. A merchant in Karachi needs funds in London. A student in Birmingham is helping parents in Lahore, and so on. These flows often move in both directions, which means that many transactions naturally cancel one another out. But even when the flows don't balance perfectly, hawaladars have flexible ways to settle accounts. Consider a simple example. Suppose our Toronto hawaladar has now taken in $50,000 more than he has paid out. The Tehran hawaladar, meanwhile, has paid out far more than he has taken in. A balance has developed. Tehran is owed money from Toronto. How will they settle it? There are several ways. One is to move cash physically, though that's usually a last resort. Another is to use trade. The Tehran hawaladar might have a cousin who exports carpets to Canada. Those carpets can be deliberately undervalued so that when the Toronto hawaladar imports them and sells them at full price, the profit balances the accounts. Or perhaps the Toronto hawaladar knows a freight forwarder who owes him a favor. Arranging a shipping discount can itself serve as a form of settlement. Sometimes the balancing happens across multiple cities at once. Toronto owes Tehran, Tehran owes Dubai, Dubai owes London, London owes Toronto. Settlement becomes a cycle of reciprocal obligations in which no single pair has to physically move money at all. Because this system is so fluid, blending family ties, commercial relationships, and centuries-old trust networks, it works remarkably well for people who have every legitimate reason to avoid the bottlenecks of formal banking. Migrant workers use it to ensure their families receive money quickly. Businesses rely on it in countries where banking systems are unreliable or politically volatile. People use it during crises, war, sanctions, hyperinflation, or currency freezes. Yet the same qualities that make Hawala so efficient, its speed, its informality, its lack of documentation, make it attractive to criminals. A drug trafficker moving money between Europe and the Gulf can use the exact same mechanism as a construction worker sending money home to his parents. Both transactions look identical to someone trying to investigate them. There are no digital fingerprints, no formal ledgers, no official receipts. Authorities around the world struggle with this. It presents many of the same problems as Bitcoin. How do you regulate a system that doesn't run through banks, doesn't use official channels, and barely leaves a paper trail? Despite efforts to license and register hawaladars in some countries, the system remains resilient because it is deeply embedded in the social and economic life of communities who trust it. It survives not by outwitting the financial system, but by offering something the financial system often fails to provide: reliability, speed, human trust, and adaptability in environments where institutions are weak. All advantages that even cryptocurrency cannot match. So when you walk into that Toronto dry cleaner with $10,000 in an envelope, remember that you're stepping into a global web, a vast, largely invisible network of obligations and trust. You are participating in a system that has quietly moved value across deserts, mountains, borders, and oceans for hundreds of years. And although its mechanics are simple, its endurance speaks to a profound truth about commerce and society. Sometimes, the most powerful systems aren't the ones built on technology or bureaucracy, but the ones that keep humans at the center.